Hello again. Today is World Lupus Day, a day dedicated to raising awareness about the life-altering and fatal disease. Lupus is an inflammatory autoimmune disease in which the body's immune system attacks its own tissues and organs. Now, this can have an impact on a variety of organs, including the skin, kidneys, brain, joints and lungs, among others. Let's discuss this further now with Teboho Mashiyane from the Lupus Drive. Teboho, a very good morning to you. Thanks so much for your time. And let's talk about lupus. I mean, we don't hear much about it. Often you hear of somebody who has lupus, you hear about their battles, but it's not something that we often hear a lot about. I mean, just tell us about it. What is lupus? How does it affect someone's life?
Okay, lupus is when your body's immune system attacks your tissues. So the immune system becomes hyperactive and starts attacking the healthy tissues. So it could attack your lungs, kidneys, heart, and there are also different types of lupuses. We've got systematic lupus erythematosus, which I have. You've got discoid lupus, which is skin-related. You've got the nervous system lupus, which I also suffer from. And then you've got the drug-induced lupus, which can fade away after 6 months after you've gotten treatment. So you can have different types of lupuses. Like I do, I have two currently, which affects my nerves. And in 2019, I had to do a procedure on my spine to lessen the nerve damage that I had.
Well, tell us about yourself then, Teboho. Tell us about, a day in the life of you. How do you manage? I mean, it's not just one kind of lupus. Like you say, you've got two.
Yes. I'm a teacher, so it's very difficult. Well, when you also put in with the coronavirus that we have. So it's a very difficult thing. When we were given opportunity to do the comorbidities leave, I also took it, but I had to go back to work when it was level 1. I take immunosuppressants, which suppress my immune system, meaning I've got less antibodies fighting for me. So it's very difficult. You become scared. You don't know. You are uncertain. You try as much as possible to protect yourself, but it's uncertain. I've got 2 children, and it's very hard for them. They had to learn and adapt to help me around the house. And my husband is always supportive in my family because you suffer a lot from fatigue, which is chronic tiredness. It's not the tiredness that is usual where you are just tired from a work day. You wake up tired. You have fever, you've always got joint pain that you don't understand. So it's a very difficult life. A year doesn't pass where you don't have a flare, which is when your lupus is very active and you get very sick.
So with your lupus and the types that you have, Teboho, I mean, is it something that you're going to be on treatment for the rest of your life?
Yes, I was formally diagnosed with lupus in 2012. So I've been taking chronic medication. It has been adjusted throughout. There are new symptoms that appear as time goes on, like where the nerve damage, it only started appearing in 2019. All along, I was fine. So you find that a day I'm taking 15 different types of pills. So this is, I have to do this for the rest of my life just to keep alive, And it's not a cure, it's only the treatment that I get only treats the symptoms. So it's not actually treating the lupus. So I take a lot of immune suppressants like Azapress, I take chloroquine, I also take Methotrexate, which is chemo. It's a chemo tablet that I take on Fridays. So there's a lot of medication and prednisone also. There's a lot of medication that I take that is trying to suppress the lupus so it doesn't become too active.
Well, Teboho, are you able to tell us, I mean, what do we know about what actually causes lupus? And is it also something that is genetic?
I believe the doctors do say sometimes it's genetic because you find that in a family before we never knew what was lupus. So you'd have your aunt or your mother who had those symptoms, but they were never diagnosed because it wasn't a known disease. It takes years actually to be diagnosed with it because there's a series of tests that have to be done. Blood tests, you have to be asked questions and you have to be monitored. So with me, it took nearly 4 years for me to be finally diagnosed. So you find that when we look at my my mother's side of the family, they've had symptoms like that, but even though they were never formally diagnosed. So it's very common that you'll find that it's genetic. Also, sometimes it's really not genetic, it just appears in your body. Maybe you're the first one to be like that in the family.
All right, thanks very much for sharing that with us. Not easy also, Teboho, to talk about just, something that affects your life so much. And thanks for sharing with us, raising awareness there. World Lupus Day, the theme, make lupus visible. And that's what we're doing. Teboho, one of those speaking about living with lupus. And a lot of people walking around us, we probably don't know that this is what they deal with every day. And we'll continue to highlight these.